All right, we're here at Fun Fit and Fasting with George Chandler, Dwayne Golden. We're excited today as we have a guest, and we've been doing all we can to keep it fun. As we are in our 50s, approaching 60, it's important for us to continue to remember that we want to stay fit as well, doing as many active things as we can do at our age. But you got to hear this woman we're going to be talking to today. Yolanda Moore, who I believe will inspire you because of how she takes this on. Now, look, she doesn't even know anything about what we're doing at Fun Fit and Fasting, and she's already that, right? So I think it's important for us to get to know a little bit more about her so that you can find out exactly what are the things that she's doing that you may be able to embrace and begin to help your life to be more fun, certainly keep you fit, and maybe adopt some of the fasting principles. Yolanda, oh, first of all, George, what's up, man? What do you think about this guest before we introduce her?
No, I've had a little bit of time to spend with Yolanda, and I love what she's doing. I think she's making a huge impact as far as helping people live healthier lives, right? Improving their quality of life, which is what we're all about. So I love what she's doing, and want to share that with our listeners.
Yeah, and so
Thank
let's start off
you.
with this, Yolanda. What's your story? So you're fun, fit, and fasting because of a reason? Because you maybe things got out of hand healthily, or what's going on with you? Why this way of living now? What's up?
Okay, so if you go back, I have three daughters, and my twins will be 30, approaching 30 years old.
Okay.
I'm 59. So when my twins were turning 16, I had eaten my way through my divorce from their dad. I was just 5 foot. I stopped weighing myself, but I'm like 5 foot 1.5. I was over 200 pounds. I was in denial. I stopped weighing myself at 200 pounds. When I got divorced, I went back to work. Before I was divorced, I didn't have problems really so much with fitness. I was very involved. I was a stay at home mom. I was teaching
Hmm.
aerobics. I was
Wow.
just having a great time, right?
Hmm.
And I've always embraced fitness. My parents did, they met actually in college, both running track. So I was always kind of a fit person. But then, we moved on the East Coast, the lifestyle changed. I was a stay at home mom, able to do a lot of things, went back to work. So had to fit my lifestyle into going back to work. Went back to work, hadn't worked in 7 years, got promoted, and dedicated myself to that position. And that meant certain things, how are you going to do everything? I've got the kids, I've got this career that, I'm on a career track to management. How do you do all this? So something had to go, at least in my mind at the time.
Right.
And what was it? It was my fitness. My dad, when I graduated from high school or college, I'm sorry, had bought me a gym membership. So I was always going to the gym, at the time, working at a gym, teaching classes. I had to give that up. I felt that I had to give it up because I didn't even try to fit it into my schedule. It just kind
Okay.
of fell off. You start going less and less days. Everybody knows. Next thing you know, I'm over 200 pounds. My twins were turning 16, and there was going to be a big party. So I had time to plan because we knew, I guess their dad was having this big party. So at the time they were 15,
Hmm.
and I had time to get myself together. And it was at the time I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired because I have a small frame, and
Hmm.
me carrying over 200 pounds was not working. I
Yeah.
felt terrible. I was having back spasms.
Hmm.
I could very uncomfortable fitting into the car. All of my clothes were tight. I had record breaking cholesterol. My cholesterol was 299. That
Mercy,
might have
Lord.
been a world
And
record.
that wasn't your
Uh,
LDL. Wow.
A1C was up, the whole nine. I mean, my numbers, blood work was just off the charts. And so I knew I needed to do something, but the vanity in me wanted to be ready for this Sweet 16 party. So I just went back to working out. When I started, I was doing, back then it was Atkins, and I lost 50
Yep.
pounds with Atkins, right? uh, was
Whoa.
spending 6 days a week and lost 50 pounds with Atkins in about, it took me like 8 months. So I was
Okay.
ready for the party. After that, you fast forward, I became, kept the weight off, became postmenopausal. The weight started creeping back up. Guys, Dwayne, George, I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I knew I had to do something. A nurse friend of mine told me about intermittent fasting. She said, the first thing she told me was, well, you don't eat breakfast. My mind shut down. I was like, there's no way. I love breakfast. I gotta eat breakfast. And as an aerobics instructor and former Weight Watcher employee, you're taught breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but you don't know the history behind that. That was just a marketing ploy
Yes, it
to sell
was.
cereal.
Yep.
So I just said, I'm not doing it. And the weight kept creeping on. And then I said, what about that intermittent fasting? And I tried it, and it wasn't really working for me at first because I was trying to go it alone. I didn't know anybody that looked like me that was intermittent fasting. I went on to Instagram. Everybody was like in Europe and Australia, but we became a community, right? And I learned
Right.
so much from them, from people all over the world. And that was how I had the accountability, the support, and turned it into a lifestyle, just learning and listening, following the experts, like Dr. Jason Fung and Dr.
Hmm.
Rhonda Patrick and Dr. Berg, Eric Berg,
Yep.
and just the podcast, just soaking it all in, right? Just
Yeah.
learning everything. And I finally started to lose weight. So I got back to, at that point, I was 150,
Wow.
started intermittent
Oh.
fasting 5 years ago, lost another 20 pounds. So I know now I stay between 125 and 130.
Oh man, I want to
So
say I hate you, but it's so beautiful. That's amazing.
That's fantastic.
yeah,
What you're hearing, by the way, what you're hearing is Yolanda Moore, who actually we met in Instagram, but watching her post her stories, seeing how she is taking a quality of life and sharing within a community to inspire others, we had to get her on as a guest. Yolanda, your story, first of all, it's very exciting to watch the progressions and the things that our listeners, all of us, none of us are immune to real life things happening, like getting ready for parties or getting through a divorce or the loss of a loved one. They cause us to change our rhythm for eating, rhythm for sleeping. So to hear your story is very, very encouraging because one of our themes here is if we can do it, if someone here can do it, then you can do it as well. And Yolanda, your story's no different. So George, I don't know if you're picking up on this. It's by the way, it's a beautiful story, and I'm sure your daughters are inspired and so proud of you. I can imagine.
thank you.
George, what do you think? We're all actually it's scary. We could all been in the same classrooms and stuff at school.
Right.
um, well, I yeah, if George wasn't kicked out of class or something, we could have.
Yeah.
But in all
Okay.
seriousness,
Whatever.
recently we attended a podcast that you had in Clubhouse, and so that was very inspirational. Hearing some of the people that you're following. So my takeaway, George, is the influence that Yolanda has is on anyone that hears it or witnesses it. She has a special influence and a special program out there right now for a lot of women in the community who are looking for their change and that can literally have someone to identify themselves with. Now, although Charles, not Charles, George and I both are inspired, she has a special thing that I think that helps women to be a lot, not only a lot more comfortable, but certainly in a space where they feel safe. And I think it's a wonderful thing. So, I mean, am I wrong, George? Tell me what your pickup there is. I think anyone's going to be inspired, but I think if you, as a listener, you want to get out to her program, anyone, but ladies, she has a special program just for you as well. George, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that her. So, and I'll let Yolanda talk more about this, but her niche is it's wonderful. I think that what she's doing Thursday evenings, I believe it is. But I think it's a great opportunity for people to share their stories, and let's be honest. Change can be difficult, and I think that the support that Yolanda provides people, women, I'll say, is fantastic. So Yolanda, I'll let you share more on that as far as your thoughts on that and the great work that you've done.
And if there's a website or something that you can
Yes,
mention, we'd love that. If you can
absolutely.
do that, we want people to know, as whether
Correct.
they're downloading this podcast or just watching it directly, we want them to know how to get to you as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, I'm pretty easy to get to. I'm
All
better
right.
everywhere. I'm better fasting on Twitter, Clubhouse, Instagram, Facebook, better fasting. And my main social media is Instagram. So I post stories every day. I do reels. And what I'm trying to do is help women turn this into a lifestyle.
Hmm.
And so my avatar client, as we call it, like my typical client, is someone who has tried intermittent fasting on their own, like I did, is not working for them because they just need some accountability,
Yeah.
support, and more knowledge. They just need that extra to get
Hmm.
it going. And so that's why I started the group. I have a membership. We meet every Thursday night and we also chat. The members are free to call me. I had a member call me today. And the funny thing is about my women is, yeah, it's all about health. But I was talking with my client today. She's part of the membership. She was a one-on-one client and then she joined the membership. We're talking today how she just wants to she's like, yeah, it's my health. She's like, but Yolanda, it's also, I just want to look good. I want to be able to go in the store and just pick out a dress and look fabulous in it and feel good also besides the health. So a lot of my clients, I'm sorry, but we're vain. We want to look
You mean you're
good.
human? We're human, right?
Hello.
Right, we're
Human.
human. We're human, right? So we just encourage each other, and the ladies encourage me too. And one of the things that I really incorporate is making it like your show, making it fun, turning it
Yes.
into a lifestyle so that you can have sustainable weight loss. Because how many times, guys, I've been on every diet, you name it,
Yeah.
cabbage soup, Atkins, the grapefruit diet, the
Grapefruit.
military, the banana diet. Oh my gosh,
Jenny Craig. I'll keep going.
I
Yeah.
never did Jenny Craig, but I
Okay.
could go on and on. And the problem is we can do these for so long, right? We get excited, we lose a few pounds, and then we want pizza. I mean, come on, we're only human.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
want pasta, we want
Yeah.
real food. And so we just can't sustain those lifestyles. So that's what we do. I have a link tree and Instagram, so
Hmm.
you can go on my Instagram and follow me, learn more about me that way. I do a room on Thursday nights also at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Clubhouse, and that's a great room as well. I call it a podcast, and I
It
interview
is.
people that are on a health and wellness journey. I mean, they're not all even intermittent fasters, but you can go and watch the replays and just get inspired
Yeah.
at any age to change your life and to look like you did when you were in college, like, and to be able to
Hello.
fit those clothes. Definitely. I mean, you guys are proof of that.
Well, you know what's interesting, Yolanda, beyond beyond the vanity, because it's there. I think it's one of the ways as human beings we measure progress. I guess is in some of the
Yeah.
vanity, but I think what's really good. We talked about it earlier with another, and that is how good you feel when you begin to change that lifestyle, have that paradigm shift in how we drink and eat and sleep. You feel better. Now, yeah, you don't have to be older to feel better. There are some 25 to 35-year-olds that actually require a scooter to get around Walmart. So it's not about age necessarily, but a lot of times it's associated with age. So for me personally, I can identify with everything you said and can justify, yeah, of course, we want to look better because of how we looked before we started changing our lifestyle. But at the end of the day, what's better than looking good is, oh my goodness, I can walk this long without being out of breath. I don't need anyone to help me. I can also, I'm being honest.
I'm sorry. You just reminded me of what was that Eddie Murphy movie where he was the and Dan Aykroyd was
Trading
in it.
places, trading
Trading
places.
Places. Yeah, looking good,
Yeah.
feeling good, Lewis. I'm sorry.
Right.
There's a reality to it though, because
It
I know
is.
I could say for myself, if I went to a concert with my wife and there was everybody had to sit on the ground, I would be so miserable because I'd have to go lean
Oh
against
my
the tree.
gosh.
I couldn't
Yeah.
sit on the ground.
That's a
Or
journey.
if we take
Things like
grandkids,
that.
if we take grandkids to an amusement park, I'm the guy that sits at a bench and watches everything because I couldn't stand or walk long. And so finally, I can get around and move, and it feels so good.
Yes.
But anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take away from it. But Yolanda, that's what we're talking about, and I think about it as I listen to some of your podcast on Clubhouse, some of the reviews, what do you call it, replays. It's the same concept. One thing I hear it's consistent is how good people feel, even though they made the change, in spite of people judging them because they're doing something different. And everybody's different. Some are not doing intermittent fasting. That's okay. They're making changes and adjustments, and maybe how often or the kind of stuff that they ate. Everybody's different.
Right.
But that's what I like about your program. And needless to say, there are times it's so good. And look, I'm very comfortable in my own skin as a man. Okay, I'm going to say it right out the gate. I'm going to preface what I'm about to say with that. I'm on the blue team, not the pink team. However, I loved your program so much. I told George, man, I kind of wish I was a woman so I could be in on her program.
Yeah.
That's what I think of your program. That's a compliment to you. That is
Thank
not me wanting to
you.
be a woman. Okay.
Right. I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would just say that I in the clubhouse how supportive it was. You're the folks that were on and how loving and supporting and hey, we all kind of misstep from time to time, but it's getting back up and moving forward, right? So I love
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
it's Yolanda's world, right? And in her world, less is more, right? She's a lot less than
There
the
we
200
go.
pounds, and she is more of a person able to flaunt and carry more love for all these people in this community. It's a beautiful thing. I want to become your marketing director. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. We.
No, no, it's just exciting. I was thinking, Yolanda, when the night we were in your podcast in Clubhouse, my mother was diagnosed at 58 with dementia. And at the time, my mom was probably 5 foot or 5'1", but she maintained around 260 plus. However, when I was a younger man, when I was a young boy, my mom was barely 100 pounds, 115 pounds at the most. But after 7 kids, right?
Right.
And our life having its way, things happen, and of course the eating understanding about health for her generation was drastically different. My
Right.
mom would be 80 something right now, but the point is, I listened to your podcast and the supportive network, and I thought, oh my goodness, if social media existed and my mom could tap into some people where she felt safe enough to be vulnerable about her weight, her health, her life with other people like-minded, what a difference it would have made. So I'm, again, not just a big fan, that's why I'm encouraged. And me personally, men or women, you will be encouraged if you go to Better Fasting on all social media, you follow her. There's stories going up every day. There's always something, and it's encouraging. So, didn't mean to go on a little rant there, but I wanted
No,
to.
thank you. Make me feel so good. Thank
I
you.
Isn't that a song? Make me feel so good. Oh, that was
Maybe. I don't
Miami
know.
Sound Machine in the
Oh,
80s.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Bad Bad
Go with
Boys.
that.
Um, sorry, I go off with the
No,
strangest
no, no.
tangent.
Yeah, I remember it.
But anyway, I got caught up in my mom thinking about how wonderful it is what you're doing. You deserve to hear it, so it makes you want to continue. In case you didn't think of quitting or stopping, it is a difference maker for those who aren't able to be here now to enjoy it. But for those that are, oh, it's a difference maker. So you continue. And I want to say this before I turn over to George, before we say goodnight. I don't intend on going backwards or quitting, right? There are times I'd like to, all right?
Yeah.
So there are times I think of the most amazing cake and ice cream moment of my life, or the biggest bag of Lay's potato chips, the Lay's ruffled potato chips, and I could literally just stop the minute I see that stuff. But thank God for you and many like you who carry on a tradition of making sure, like as Christians, or Muslims or people should go out and tell and share the good news with as many people as they can. A lot of us talk about it, but you're doing it. God bless you, Yolanda.
Thank
And
you.
George, I'd like for you to do the Saranara to my sister before she says her anything she wants to before we end up. But I wanted to get that out to you. To me, Yolanda is more, but certainly Yolanda, the very meaning would be less is more if we really embrace the very truth that you're carrying. George,
Yes, I do
are you
have one
bro?
question for Yolanda before we kind of wrap it up. So Yolanda, I know you talked about being really active when you were, I'll say, younger, but I'm curious to know what you're doing now to stay active. Are you going back to the aerobics? Are you walking? What are you doing? How do you stay active now? I'll say. There's
Oh,
different
that's a
ways to do that. So I'm always
yeah.
because so we had another guest on earlier, and he uses Oculus as one of the virtual stuff in order, and he
Love
uses
it.
Supernatural. So I'm curious to hear what you do because I can learn from that. So please,
Yes, it's all about making it fun. And since
right?
the pandy, I have not been back to the gym. So I live in a great neighborhood and I've just, we've had to pivot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at first the gyms were closed. I started, to be honest, I started to pick up weight because I wasn't, trying to fit in, working at home, doing all these things.
Get it?
Then I started walking. I live in the DMV, but my membership I have women from all over the world, which is
Right.
exciting. But when it's cold, I actually walk through my house.
Okay.
I
Okay.
will walk. You know how you got that bestie? It's going to be an hour conversation.
Yeah.
Get on
Mm-hmm.
the phone with that bestie and walk through
Yeah.
the house. And I did that in the winter time.
I
I
love
have
that. That's
so many
brilliant.
things. Yeah, I have a ton of things that I do. I also have a workout. I'll just tell you some of the different ones. I'm on
Please.
Oculus as well. There's like FitXX. Oh my gosh, those classes are great because what happens is if you have a competitive spirit in you, they put your name up like a game, right? Like the video games, your name, and who wants to be at the bottom? Man, I'm trying to be at the top. So I am moving. I do the aerobics. I found the ones I used to teach aerobics, so I know all the steps. So I'm like number one on Oculus, okay, in the metaverse. I
Nice.
do that. I have a hula hoop. The hula
Nice.
hoop is great for your abs. I'll do
Mm-hmm.
that workout. I also have a cleaning workout that I do. I need to talk more about that. I have a weight vest and I
Okay.
multitask because I mean, I rather work out. I love working out. I'd rather work out than clean the house. So I got to find some way to get it in. So I will put my vest on. And while I am cleaning, I'm working out. So I'll stop in between, I
Brilliant.
go up and down the steps as
Love
much
it.
as I can. Instead of trying to take everything at one time, I'll go put a load of laundry in the basement, come all the way back up. I've got my waist vest on, do 25 push ups, and then do some more housework, do some squats. Like I've incorporated a whole housekeeping workout that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've discovered since the pandemic, I've started hiking and I love that. And I'll go out on the different trails. So I do things to to turn it into a lifestyle and make it fun instead of like, oh, I got to go walking. I try to make it fun. I also do a gratitude walk, which is powerful. As I walk, I'm speaking to all the things that I'm grateful for. Like, wow, I'm grateful I have my health. I'm grateful that I have my legs and I'm able to be on this walk. I'm grateful to God that I've got my mind,
You got me
that's
so excited,
thinking.
Yolanda.
Yeah, so
I'm
it's
so
great.
Man,
I
encouraged.
love
love
it.
it.
Yeah, so those are some of the things I do.
Now, let me, okay, I was going to close out, but we can't close out because this is wonderful. I love hearing that. So, am I wrong that you take 30 years, the last 30 years, and I'm guessing that's the last time you were that active? When I say that active, I'm saying that something has brought us all to where we're at, right? At the end of the 50s. And as we're here, I know for me, maybe not you two, but I have not been like active like she's talking since back then when I couldn't wait to go play. You guys are playing in the mornings before we go to work. We're going to go play full court. We're going to
Right.
we're going to go golfing. We're going to go, oh, we're bowling. Let's go. And now I hear you. the walks, the Oculus, and I watch you, by the way. I on Instagram. I watch you get up in the like. I'm like, dang, it ain't but 6 o'clock. She's like, okay, everybody, the sun's up. Let's go. And that activity, it's beautiful because right now we're in a time frame where the people that are our age aren't moving much at all, right? They invented all kinds of stuff to keep us from moving. We have remote controls in this generation. We've got, I already talked about scooters. We now have bikes that have motors. We have everything to keep us from moving. And so, wow, that was so inspiring hearing about the vest. I was just telling George and another friend that we park everything, no matter where we go. We park the furthest spot in the parking lot.
Absolutely.
We don't send anybody up or downstairs. We go everywhere throughout the house on our own. And we just started. We're not paying anybody to cut the grass, do the pool. We do everything manually. Keep busy, and so we can keep it off. But at the same time, of course, we're less likely to be moving as slow when we're 80 and 90 if we're here, if we are keeping it moving now. So hearing you talk, you're such an inspiration. I'm gonna tell you something. We will have a live time for the new 30 Club, and I want to invite you back because we need some more Yolanda talk, right?
Amen.
Okay, great.
We have a program we are releasing called the New 30 Club.
Yes, I heard about it. I love the concept of it. Love the name. It is going to be incredible.
Yeah, you sound like you're a graduate because you're like a 30-year-old up here. Then I go here and I do this. I'm like, dang, girl, I had to take all kind of medication to keep up with you. You got it going on.
Thank you.
But anyway, so it's a delight. If you're listening to Yolanda Moore, and I want you to get this. You follow her, Better Fasting on Instagram, Better Fasting on Facebook, Better Fasting in Clubhouse, Better Fasting. But what's really cool is, if nothing else, when you have a down day or a tempting day to get away from where you've been, watch Yolanda, and she will demonstrate to you just how less can be more. If in fact you could follow those steps, and fasting or not, you follow her, you'll know. This is Dwayne Golden, George Chandler with Fun, Fit, and Fasting, and our lovely special guest, Yolanda Moore. Take care.
Thank you so much.